Tank carries the power. He's sneaky. Explosive.
Yeah, he sets traps, and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power, too. He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work, and you're backing up, and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on you.
Nah, I'm not shocked. I mean, his last fight when he fought Lamont, JakePaul was at the fight. He told y'all he was going to fight somebody like JakePaul, so I'm not shocked. It don't surprise me, so.
Joe, Rogan has issued a strong warning to JakePaul as he prepares to face Gervonta Tank Davis. On his podcast, Rogan made it clear that stepping in against a knockout machine like Davis is nothing like the matchups Paul has taken on before. While he praised Jake for putting in serious effort to improve his boxing skills, Rogan emphasized that Tank's quickness, power, and sharp fight IQ could expose Jake's weaknesses right away. For Rogan, this isn't some fun celebrity showcase. It's a dangerous fight that could turn ugly fast if Jake underestimates what's...
Boxing has gone too far. JakePaul is taking on Gervonta Tank Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder, nearly a 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Rogan has repeatedly praised Tank Davis's knockout power, even comparing him to a smaller version of Mike Tyson. While speaking with comedian Ali Sadiq, Rogan broke down Davis's 7th-round knockout of Ryan Garcia, pointing out Tank's rare ability to deliver massive power despite his smaller build. Rogan said, "It's crazy because looking at him, you'd never expect that kind of strength," noting how deceiving Tank's body type really is. He also highlighted that Davis's forward-charging, aggressive style makes him even more terrifying once the fight starts.
I am a Gervonta fan. I think that guy's so unusual. Yeah. His style's so unusual, and it's like patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Leo Santa Cruz fight was really something for me because Leo Santa Cruz is a technician. He's great, Mexican style, but he's also a technician. And that fight was very close before Tank stopped him.
Yeah.
But he has that power that can end it.
Well, he finds these openings and he sees them, but he doesn't go after them right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient.
Right.
Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level, he probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because he just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can fucking crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got massive confidence in that. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. Where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that like Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. And so I was just a giant fan of the guy. I just loved as a person who like really enjoyed technique. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it.
Even though Rogan believes JakePaul isn't ready to handle boxers on Tank's level, he has still given Jake credit for what he's achieved. Rogan has described Jake's path through the celebrity side of boxing as smart, pointing out how Paul has managed to turn himself into a real fighter making big money. He no longer views Jake as just a YouTuber, but as someone with solid ring IQ, improving skills, and the ability to keep fans engaged. Still, Rogan keeps a realistic stance. He respects Jake's growth, but knows the entertainment factor.
But is this Logan Paul? Is he a legitimate boxer?
A legitimate boxer, yes. People mocked me when I was saying that before, but now I think people are coming around. And the way I look at it, I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fucking fight. He knows how to fight. Like, it's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future. He's really something special. If JakePaul wasn't JakePaul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, you're like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Part of the excitement around this fight comes from the major size difference between the two. Jake Paul is 6 feet 1 inch and usually fights around 199 pounds as a cruiserweight. JervontaDavis, on the other hand, is just 5'5", 1/2 and fights at about 135 pounds as the WBA lightweight champion. That's a huge 60 pounds gap, raising plenty of questions about fairness and safety. Even so, both camps have agreed to move forward, with Jake expected to slim down to 195 pounds to at least make the matchup appear a little more even.
Jake Paul versus JervontaDavis is official. A lightweight takes on a heavyweight, a bit insane, a big size difference, but also a speed difference. I want to talk about this fight, get my picks and predictions for how it's going to play out, and basically just let's run it. So the only combat sports fight I can think of off the top of my head that was similar in the size disparity is Buckley versus Rizabuyov. Now look at these guys. Buckley is 5'6", I believe 5'7". Rizabuyov is 6'5". It just looks ridiculous. And Jake Paul, it says 6'1", but I think he's more like 6'2". He's a big fucking dude, 76-inch reach. Well, Gervonta's only 5'5", with a 9-inch reach disadvantage on Jake Paul. 9-inch reach. You're having a laugh, bud. But she's not all about size, boys. As Buckley showed against Rizabuyov, speed is a factor, and these little guys can move. Buckley actually won this fight on points. A lot of jabs to the body, jab to the body, overhand right, on repeat. Rinse and repeat, use your speed, get out of range. When you're in range, you're hitting the body, hitting up top. When you're out of range, you're just moving around and keeping the big man moving. I do see this going a similar way. Now, I'm not a Jake Paul hater by any means. I actually think he's pretty decent. But just the size difference, I mean, he weighs almost 100 pounds more than Gervonta. I mean, he is going to be a lot slower. And Jake isn't the most explosive and the quickest guy. I mean, like I said, I'm no Jake Paul hater. I actually think he's pretty good. He's got power, a lot of power, but he's just not that quick. And Gervonta is very fucking quick. Now, there is no way in the world JervontaDavis finishes Jake Paul. You cannot pay me enough on that pick. But JervontaDavis on points, I think is basically signed, sealed, delivered. It's going to be jab to the body, move, jab to the body and move. And jab to the body again and move. It's all it's going to be. So if you're paying for this fight, I mean, I think it's on Netflix, so most of us should be locked and loaded. But if you're going anywhere to pay for this one, don't even bother. It's going to be boring as fuck. It's going to be Gervonta jabbing the body and Jake Paul missing overhands. That's what this fight's going to be. And it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be 120 to 100 in favor of the little man. 5'5", 63-inch reach, Gervonta Tank Davis.
For JervontaDavis, the bigger risk isn't about weight, it's about reputation. Losing to Jake Paul, who has a 12-1 record but far less professional experience, could hurt Davis's standing with boxing purists. For Paul, though, the upside is massive. A win over an undefeated champion like Davis would give him real legitimacy. Still, a lot of critics don't take the fight seriously. Ryan Garcia mocked the matchup, calling it more like pro wrestling than boxing and ridiculing the idea of Tank bulking up near 195 pounds. He warned that boxing is becoming more about spectacle and money than actual competition. Regardless, the fight is moving ahead, and Netflix will broadcast it live worldwide.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks,
the answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion, multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, you know, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy. If he hits you clean, so we know the risk. But how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
All right, so it looks like it's official that Jake Paul is going to be fighting Tank Davis. So pretty crazy considering Jake Paul is 6'1", 220 walking around, and Tank Davis is 5'5", I think he's 140 walking around. So we're talking about 80-pound weight difference and then 8 inches of height. Everyone's been telling Jake Paul that he needs to fight real fighters in their prime. And Gervonta Tank Davis is in his prime and one of the best fighters out there, but this is just ridiculous. Let me know what you think.
Rogan has also raised questions about Jake Paul's other fight plans, especially his decision to delay a showdown with Anthony Joshua until 2026. Rogan even joked, "I think he's juicing, because why else delay it if both are ready right now?" He suspects the pushback has more to do with business than training. Despite Jake's height and weight advantage, most experts still pick Davis to win by knockout. Former champion Sean Porter even predicted Tank would stop Paul, saying, "I'm betting on Tank. You'd be surprised." Analysts agree Tank's speed, fight IQ, and crushing power outweigh Jake's size. Across the boxing world, reactions are divided. Some say the fight hurts the sport, while others admit the hype and money are impossible to ignore.
What Gervonta Davis did for your preparation?
You know what? I think getting him on the back end of the sparring was more so to make sure the eyes and the focus and everything's there. He is one of the sharpest boxers I've ever been in the ring with, and I'm sure it won't change. It won't change much after being in the ring with Terrence. I would imagine that Terrence will be the sharpest, but that boy Tank is sharp.
What do you think?
Will Tank Davis knock out Jake Paul? That's a question that many people are asking now that they're actually set to fight November 14th. Most people think that the weight disadvantage is going to play a major role in how this fight's going to turn out. Personally, I could kind of see a knockout. We already saw how Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather did, and that was like the same type of weight difference, I believe. Also, on top of that, any punch could be a knockout shot. It just has to be placed well with time, and we know that Tank has explosiveness and amazing timing and accuracy. So at the end of the day, it's always possible. But do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I think it's just going to be another Jake Paul decision fest match. I don't think that anything super exciting is going to happen, but it is kind of interesting to think about. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You could knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you were saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can fight Jake at 195?
Daniel Cormier admitted he was shocked when Jake Paul versus Davis was announced, mainly because of the 60-pound size difference. Speaking on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, Cormier said the fight looks more like a show than a serious contest. Still, despite being much smaller, he picked Davis as the favorite because of his top-level skills. Ahead of Jake's fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Georges St. Pierre also gave Jake advice, warning him not to let his loss to Tommy Fury consume him. Using his own loss to Matt Serra as an example, GSP said chasing revenge can be dangerous. He did, however, compliment Jake's win over Anderson Silva, praising his body work, defense strategy, and ring IQ. GSP added that both Paul brothers are skilled athletes who smartly use social media. Though he was clear, they're not.
Yo, so Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Davis. I'm serious. It's real. 199 in Paul's last fight, 133.8 for Davis in his last fight. I discussed that and so much more at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific at my YouTube channel. The link will be in my bio. But hey, I thought he was going to fight Anthony Joshua. How do you end up from Anthony Joshua to Tank Davis? I discuss.
My brother has an 11-1 boxing record. The one came from a guy by the name of Tommy Fury.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Jake, obviously, super hungry kid, wants to avenge that loss, but Tommy won't take the fight.
When I lost to Matt Serra, I was obsessed of revenge. So one of the sport psychologists, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Serra on it. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag. Until the point I couldn't take it anymore. He made me go to the Saint Laurent River and he made me throw the brick. When I did this, it kind of releases me. But my point is that it's awful and it must stink like fucking crazy. But you need to focus on the next task because that could be a big mistake.
Boxing legend Carl Froch blasted the idea of Jake Paul fighting JervontaDavis, calling it flat out embarrassing for the sport. Froch dismissed Paul as a little clown and said the fight proves absolutely nothing. He also criticized Davis's past opponents like Mike Tyson and Chavez Jr., saying they were way past their primes. Froch even joked that he'd come out of retirement just to knock Paul's teeth out. For him, this matchup is another sign of boxing sliding into circus acts. Many believe the fight is more about business than boxing, with weight rules, exhibition angles, and streaming deals driving it. Andre Berto described it as a money-first setup, not a real contest. On the herd, it was called confusing and a worrying sign for the sport's direction. Ryan Garcia also ridiculed it, comparing the fight to WWE.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that JervontaDavis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting JervontaDavis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. JervontaDavis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode. But hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in. And I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf, and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share, and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
Fighting Jake Paul, calling him a clown who couldn't box, and saying he wouldn't consider it no matter the payday. But his view has slowly shifted. Davis admitted, "I still think he's a clown, but I'm beginning to respect him because he's not just doing this for attention." He pointed out that Jake has shown real toughness and decent skills, proving he's actually serious about becoming a professional fighter. While Davis isn't blown away by Jake's technique, he now...
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul, would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be able to box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.